Political analyst Etana is an assistant professor of history at James Madison University and joins us from London. Thank you so much for being here with us. So let's start with the merging of the various rebel groups. How significant is that?
Thank you. This merger, which is coming up this week, is necessary and very important in defining the future of Ethiopia because the country is now plunging into a chaos, and this coalition is needed to keep the country together. For the last 3 years, Ethiopia did not see a single day when a civilian did not die or people were uprooted from their lives. So this cooperation alliance between political groups will give hope to the country and show a direction to keep the country together and to restore peace in the country.
So you expect this to be a unifying force then? Explain that.
Yes, it should be a unifying force, particularly if you look at the name. It includes Oromo political party, Tigray political party, Somali. All of these people are people who want a larger and considerable autonomy in their regions in Ethiopia. One important point about the ongoing war and conflict in Ethiopia is that this war began to redefine or reconfigure the identity of the Ethiopian state. It's important to have in mind that Ethiopia began as a modern state in the 19th century. It began its life as an empire. It's a country of nations. Like any empire, it brought together many nations by force together. That is why the modern history of Ethiopia was fraught by the rising conflicts and nationalism of ethnic groups, including Oromo, Tigray, Somali, and many other nations. So this coalition of groups would confirm the peace of the country if it goes forward, and it also secures the stability of the country because it represents the interests of the majority in the country.
You mentioned earlier that we see the country's plunging into chaos. You referenced the impact on civilians. Obviously, they're all, as always, caught in the middle and pay the heaviest price. I mean, we've seen further displacement of so many people. What effect is this having on the ground right now?
The effect is very large throughout the country, not just in the north. Tigray suffered the most. Oromia was in a similar situation for the last 3 years. It has been a similar situation. Benishangul region in the west is in a similar situation. So hundreds of thousands of people were dislocated from their life, lost their lives in many parts of the country. So the war is going on still, and people are suffering quite a lot in their daily lives. And ending this war is very important to secure people's lives. But one important problem that we can see, despite what happened in 1991, when in a similar fashion a regime was forced out of power by rebels, this time there were considerable number of rebels in many parts of the country. And this group, the significance of this group is that it can bring together rebels from many other parts of the nations, because it's important to remember the rebellion in many other parts of Ethiopia is the demand for self-rule. And these groups could come together much easily than any other group. For example, political groups that start organizing their parties, or political groups from the center looking at the past of Ethiopia that suppresses identities or regional autonomy in the country. So if the war ends very soon, it secures peace of the country, it secures peace of nations and nationalities in the country. But the challenge is that the war may not end with the fall of Addis Ababa. There is a factor of Eritrea, there is a factor of Amara region, which is quite unhappy with the advancing rebels.
Etana, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.